Okay, our first class tonight, we'll talk about Google. We'll talk about Gmail, Google Drive, Google Docs. So, if you've never used Google before, you're going to have to create a Google account. It's free, but it allows you access to a lot of free applications. So, basically, some of this you already might know, so I'll go as fast or slow as I need to. But let me explain how it's going to go. This will be what we're going to cover in the part 1. Then here's some topic help. And whenever I have things in red like this, it's a combination of text with videos embedded in the text. All these are pretty good, and they're topic by topic, so they give you pretty good access. There's a lot of good information in here. I also embedded some videos in right on the page. And these videos are about Chrome. Generally, they're fairly short. I didn't put any super long, like hour-long videos, but these all come from YouTube, and they're good overviews of Google Chrome if you're not familiar with it. And then the second part, we're going to talk about Gmail email, and everyone will have to create a Gmail email account. I'll talk about the basic structure. There's a movie below that I made about that, how to compose, and then there's things inside, categories, labels, spam, trash, drafts. There's a ton of stuff. Again, some really good help if you're just getting started. The red, generally these are pretty good where they're combinations of text and videos embedded in the text. And then there's an assignment. We'll talk about the assignment when we get to the class, but these first 1 or 2 classes, the assignments are fairly straightforward. Each assignment asks you to do something, and there's point values. And you're either going to send me an email or send me an email with an attachment, or when we get talking about Drive, you're going to share things with me. So we'll open these up, but this one, I'm giving you a file. I'm going to show you how to make your own copy of the file and then make some edits in the file and then just either send the file back to me or share. So we'll talk about this assignment in great detail when I see you. Then on a lot of the pages, I found videos on YouTube that I embedded on the page. So this one's the Gmail desktop, just from different people. I'm not really sure why that looks the same, but I'll check to make sure I didn't duplicate myself. And some of these are EdTech people in this country. So a lot of them come from other countries, so you'll see some of the people who narrate have accents. But I tried to put ones that were good and slightly different from each other, so they would provide you focuses on different aspects and topics within. Then the next thing, we'll focus on Google Drive, which you get access to via Gmail. And there's a lot of things that we're going to use that come where you access them through Google Drive. The 3 to start, so class 1 and then 2 will be Word, PowerPoint, Excel. There's something called Google Forms or something called Google Jamboard. There's ways that you can set up your structure in your Drive, your file structure. So there's just different aspects, so we'll go through that. And again, these are videos that I found that were pretty informational. Now this one is mine. It's just extras that you can do in Google Drive. So whenever you see things like this, there's not like a cool person smiling at you or some fancy graphics. The ones that are pretty straightforward like this come from me. I made them in this program called Loom, which you're going to learn in a few weeks. So again, it provides you extra things you can do in Google Drive. Here's some, excuse me, again, more of that text/video combined help. And then the last thing we're going to do is Google Docs, which is the Microsoft Word version with it that Google gives you. It's not nearly as powerful as Word itself, but it's free and you can, do a fair amount with it. And I'm going to try to get you through or show you the different things. So we're going to talk about Google Docs, editing options, how you can share a file with people. You can share it with non-Google users. So someone who's has a Chestnut Hill College account, you could share a file, but then there's some error proofing that you have to do. It's not a straight thing. You have to, they'll try to access it, excuse me, and you'll have to answer a question and verify that they're the one. But we're just going to keep everything within Gmail for the class. Now notice this one has a lot of things because there's a lot of things that you can do in Microsoft Word, if you're familiar, which you can do in Google Docs. So I tried to give you as much info as possible, and we'll touch on a fair amount of these things. Some of them are easy, some of them are not. This is a video I made about sharing files with other people, whether you want them to be able to edit it or not. There's also something called a history. Now in Google, you don't have to save. It saves automatically. It's very different than you're used to with Word, if you're used to that at all. But the problem is that what if it saves for you and you make some changes and you don't like them? There's a version history. So I'll show you that. And here's a video on the version history. Here's just some more help I found video-wise that are pretty good. And then there's a cheat sheet in text, and then there's a training provided by Google. This is very thorough, kind of long, but you can go in there. It's hyperlinked, so you can go in and click on specific information. Then this is an assignment. I'll go through this in detail when I see you. Each assignment has a point value associated with it, and you're going to share. Get a file I give you, and then make it your own. Make a copy, and then make some changes, and then you're going to either share it with me or send it to me as a attachment. I'm going to show you how to download files from Google down to your computer, how to convert them from Google Docs, which is the Word format, to a PDF. It can be opened on anybody's computer. So I'm just going to take you through the basics, and then this one is just a little slightly different version, so we'll talk about this. Now, here's the key. I also have to give you assignments that we complete the Pennsylvania Department of Education amount of contact time. The way these courses are set up is we don't meet for all the hours, so we have to give you a little bit of extra work. So I think we have 4 of these. They're all different, but I'll explain each one of them when we get to the particular class. But this one is about lesson plans and then critiquing them. So just as a sneak point, this actually tells you everything that you need to know. Here's the assignment. You have to find 3 lesson plans. This document is just what is a good lesson plan. It's informational for you if you haven't done anything with lesson plans. And these are the requirements. You're going to write a critique. You're going to have to do these certain things. When you're looking at a lesson plan, there should be certain things. So this tells you what you want, what I want you to be critical of in a lesson plan that you find on the web. Now, here's how the points come. For your critique, each one of them is worth 20 points. So 5 of those points is if you include the link to the critique you're doing, the website you're critiquing. So if I wanted to, I could click the link and see what you're talking about. You get 5 points. The critique is 1 page in length, double spaced. I don't want you to write, 50 pages. I don't want 1 or 2 sentences. I want it to be 1 page in length, double spaced. 5 points, your thoughts on that lesson are clearly stated, what you think about it, why you like it, why you don't like it. And then 5 points, your critique clearly refers to each of these guidelines, and you make note in the critique if they are included. And these are guidelines that make a good lesson plan. The goals and objectives of the lesson are clearly defined. Prerequisites the kids would have to have are identified. Any materials you would need, manipulatives, are outlined. The lesson description and procedure is clear. What that means basically is any teacher could read the lesson plan, think about it, and then do it. They don't need to ask any questions. It's very well done. And then there's some kind of assessment that is given, because anytime you teach something, you want to assess. So these are the guidelines for the critiques, and that's provided in this document. So that would be the PDE. So this is sort of the overview of what we're going to cover in class number, 1, the Google Docs, Google, essentially, Gmail, Google Drive, and Google Docs.